The story revolves around two classmates who couldn't stand each other, but circumstances stranded them in a tough situation on an island for months. We'll see how they survive and what happens between them in this complete story. Today's story begins by showing us a beautiful girl named Emma, a popular and successful student with many friends. On the other hand, we see Dean, a lazy boy compared to Emma, who wakes up late, quickly brushes his teeth, and immediately starts playing video games. His father Jack warns him that he'll be late for school. We then see Emma and her younger sister Stacy, whom their mother Barbara drops off at school. The trip to Trinity Island, Emma meets her best friend Liz at school. While they are talking, a student named Stephen greets Emma, and Liz starts teasing her. That day in class, Mr. Christensen, their teacher, announces that a trip to Trinity Island will depart the next morning at 7 a.m. As he's speaking, Emma arrives late and Dean bumps into her from behind, mockingly calling her princess. While Mr. Christensen gives more details about the trip, Liz tells Emma that Dean is also going because of his father's money, and she makes a face at Dean. During lunch, Liz tells her friends about the morning encounter between Emma and Stephen, suggesting they'll have a week on the trip to work their magic and get some action between Emma and Stephen. Emma, however, insists they should focus on the trip. As they talk, Emma sees Dean cutting an apple with a knife. Soon, Miss Collier, a teacher, scolds Dean for bringing a knife to school and takes him to the principal's office. Liz then tells her friends that Emma shouldn't be associated with boys like Dean when a hot guy like Stephen likes her. Stranded the next morning, Emma gets ready for the trip and thanks her parents Barbara and Phil for letting her go. Dean doesn't want to go, but his father, Jack, reminds him how hard he worked to get him a spot on the trip, despite him breaking school rules, so Dean agrees. Mr. Christensen tells everyone to board the bus. While boarding, Stephen asks Emma how she is, and Liz teases her again, but Emma ignores it. Soon they arrive at Trinidad Island. Miss Collier tells everyone to enjoy the pool for a while, but to return before dinner, as the program will start the next day. A little later, Emma and her friends go to the pool, where Emma meets Stephen, and they all have fun, while Dean watches alone from a balcony. That evening, Liz and a friend tell Emma that Stephen has invited them to a party on a local boat. Emma initially refuses, but her friends persuade her. At the boat party, Emma looks for Stephen but sees him kissing another girl. Distressed, Emma starts to leave, and Dean, who also saw it, tells her, "Your boyfriend is having fun." Emma tells him he shouldn't concern himself with her business. Suddenly, the police arrive, having received a tip that students were using drugs at the party, and instruct everyone to move to the front of the boat. In the chaos, Emma slips and falls into the water. Dean sees her fall and jumps in to save her, bringing her to a small dinghy attached to the larger boat. To avoid getting caught up with the police, Dean cuts the rope connecting the dinghy. Emma questions him, but he says they'll reach the big boat after the police leave. However, the boat quickly drifts far away and a storm starts brewing. Dean realizes the dinghy has no motor. A large wave hits them, and both cling tightly to the boat. The next morning, they find themselves in the Arabian Sea due to the waves. Dean's phone is water damaged, and Emma's phone has no network. Emma scolds Dean for not following the party boat, but Dean assures her that someone will come looking for them. Just then, Emma spots an island in the distance. Dean paddles the dinghy towards it, and after great difficulty, they reach the shore. Emma checks her phone again, but there's still no network. Dean finds a flare gun on the dinghy and takes it. They start walking, hoping to find help. Survival and emotional bond. Back at the hotel, Mr. Christensen cancels the trip due to the party incident. Liz tells Miss Collier that Emma hasn't returned and was last seen on the party boat. After taking attendance, Mr. Christensen realizes that both Dean and Emma are missing. The police begin questioning Emma's friends. Miss Collier asks the police if there's a way to find them, but the police say such cases are common, and they might return on their own, but finding them in the ocean would be difficult. When Dean's father, Jack, hears this, he immediately goes to the school and meets Emma's worried mother, Barbara, and father, Phil. The parents confront the principal, who can't give a proper answer. So they leave. Meanwhile, Emma and Dean continue walking. They find a beautiful waterfall in the jungle. Dean loves it and asks Emma to take a picture, but Emma refuses, saying, "We're stranded here and you're enjoying it." I needed good grades for this trip for Princeton University. If we don't get out soon, everything will be ruined. They continue, eventually reaching the edge of the island. Having found no path or help, they decide to go back to the boat, but when they return, they find the waves have carried the boat away, leaving only a life jacket. Exhausted, they decide to spend the night there. Dean lights a fire. Noticing Emma is cold, Dean takes off his shirt and gives it to her. They talk, hoping their parents will find them by morning. The next morning, Emma is writing SOS on the beach. Dean asks what she's doing, and she replies, "Trying to save my life, and we need to find drinking water." Dean goes swimming while Emma watches him. At the hotel, Mr. Christensen informs the parents that the police found a small boat that Dean and Emma might have been on. Jack suggests hiring a private rescue team since the police aren't doing enough. But Mr. Christensen assures them the police are working hard. On the island, Emma is fetching water when she feels an eerie presence, as if someone is watching her, and she leaves in fear. Together they build a small hut out of leaves to shelter from the sun. Emma then writes a larger SOS on the beach. They search for edible food on the island. Dean finds a banana tree and they both eat their fill. Due to the intense heat, Emma cuts her full-length pants into shorts. She then finds Dean sleeping in the hut and lies down next to him. Dean suddenly turns and puts his hand on her. Emma doesn't mind and says nothing. The next day, Emma is bathing at the waterfall when Dean comes and asks for sunscreen. Emma tells him to go to the other side, but Dean says she asked him to be her lookout. Emma says she only asked because she feels there's someone else on the island. Back at the hotel, Barbara is very worried. News reports state that Emma and Dean's disappearance case is now official, and police believe they are dead and are now searching for their bodies. Phil prepares to go home to Stacy, but Barbara is still distraught. Phil comforts her, saying Emma will be found, and hugs her. The next day, Jack takes a helicopter with Barbara to search for them. On the island, as night falls, Emma expresses how much she misses her family. Dean finds a human skull. Emma is terrified, suggesting it was someone else who got stranded and died, fearing the same fate. Dean reassures her it might be a fisherman or smuggler, and that they have their parents looking for them, telling her, "If we stick together, we will never die here, and one day we will definitely go back home." After this, he kisses Emma. It's Emma's first kiss and she enjoys it. Night falls and Dean breaks all limits. A storm comes, and Emma enjoys it for the first time, feeling very happy. The next morning, Emma wakes up and finds Dean is gone. Frantic, she calls out for him and searches the jungle. She finds Dean digging a hole but doesn't understand why. Suddenly, Emma falls and hurts her knee. Dean immediately rushes to treat her injury, reassuring her she'll be okay. They go to the waterfall to bathe, and Dean tells Emma that his mother died in a car accident. Emma listens intently. It starts raining, and Dean starts playing in the rain, making Emma happy. They start dancing in the rain, and Dean puts a flower in her hair. Emma then tells Dean she wants to enjoy the storm again, and Dean prepares to make it happen once more. News reports a month later state that the police have officially called off the search, believing Emma and Dean are no longer alive. However, Emma's friends and Barbara still believe they are alive. Barbara once again takes a helicopter with Jack to search for her daughter. They distribute leaflets with information about Emma and Dean. Jack tells Barbara that they've done everything, and it's time to go home. Barbara sadly agrees and leaves. Dean tells Emma about the green flash, a phenomenon his mother told him about, which appears at sunset, but he's never seen it. Rescue and reintegration. A few more weeks pass. They enjoy the island's environment, swimming and having fun, growing closer and having their storms and earthquakes whenever they want. Emma asks Dean about his first time and the girl. Dean tells her about an older friend he had in school. Knowing it was Emma's first time, he asks how she felt, and she says it was nice, but the sand went into the wrong places because of the storm. Emma then says she wants more experience, and Dean agrees. They go into the jungle to get some fruit. As Dean is picking fruit, they hear the sound of a plane. They run to the open area, and Dean frantically searches Emma's bag for the flare gun but can't find it. The plane flies away. Emma searches again but also can't find the flare gun. She suspects someone else on the island is stealing their things. A few more days pass and no other plane flies over. They discuss giving up hope of rescue and deciding to spend their lives on the island. Suddenly, Dean hears an animal sound and goes into the jungle. Worried, Emma follows him. Dean sees a black panther and runs. After running a long distance, he falls, and Emma catches up to find Dean next to a bloody knife and the dead Black Panther. Emma and Dean's friends and parents have moved on with their lives. On the island, Emma and Dean have learned to live, hunt, build a better shelter, and have given up hope of rescue. One day, Emma starts vomiting. Dean asks if she's pregnant, but Emma says it's just nausea. To feel better, she lies down with Dean. As they talk, their missing belongings start falling from above. They look up and see a monkey throwing their things, including the missing flare gun. Emma offers the monkey a banana, and it drops the gun. Just then, they hear a helicopter. They rush to the open area, and Emma loads the flare gun and fires it. The helicopter crew sees them, and they are finally rescued. Back to civilization. After 3 months, they finally return and are greeted at the airport by their overjoyed friends and parents. Both sets of parents take their children home. That night, Dean visits Emma. They talk about how strange it feels to be back. Dean goes to kiss Emma, but she pulls away, saying her parents check on her every 10 minutes and he should leave. She tells him her parents are throwing a party to celebrate their return and invites him. The next day at the party, Emma's parents make a speech. Stacy asks Dean why he's not with everyone, and Dean says he doesn't like socializing. Dean motions for Emma to join him, but she ignores him and Dean leaves the party. Everything goes back to how it was. Emma becomes very famous after returning from the island, while Dean remains an outsider. When they pass each other, they only look at each other. A few days later, Emma calls Dean, but he doesn't answer. Later, Stacy visits Emma's room and tells her how much they missed her and how happy everyone is now that she's back. Emma tells Stacy she's a great sister, and they decide to go to the prom party together. Meanwhile, Dean visits his mother's grave and cries, missing her. On the night of the prom, Dean is watching TV and his father asks if he would like to wear his coat to the party. Emma and her sister arrive at the party. Liz comes to Emma, leading her outside for a surprise. Emma sees Dean standing in the rain, wearing the coat, waiting for her. Remembering everything from the island, Emma runs to Dean. They are both very happy. They kiss and the story ends.